Okay, it's 6 o'clock on June 18th. The School Building Committee meeting will come to order. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes of the April 30th, 2025 meeting. Everybody have a chance to review them? Anybody have any questions or comments? So motion from Kevin and a second from Mike Walsh. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And Carmen Torres and Josh Otland will abstain. They were not here at that meeting. Second item on the agenda is approval of warrant. We have two items. One is a timesheet for Melissa Bullock in the amount of $307.40. And the other item is the due to Next Level Owners Projects Management as our consultant through, actually through today. Today, we'll get to that in a minute, and that's the amount of $1,050. Any discussion on that? Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Michael Agajanian, second Christopher Wilson. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. I'll pass it around to be signed. I'm going to keep this together. The next item on the agenda is feasibility study schematic design period update. And the update is actually really good news. This morning at about 20 after 10, the MSBA voted to invite us into feasibility study schematic design. And what that does is that kicks off the first step of that process will be for us to get on the street a request for services for an owner's project manager. I'm going to combine items C and D for a moment, actually for the rest of the meeting, because they're kind of, but they're really interwoven. The significance in the RFS, the template for the RFS from the MSBA, one of the considerations is whether we want to do CM at risk, which is construction manager at risk, and I'll talk about that in a moment, or design bid build, which is the more traditional process. And I'll start with design bid build. Design bid build is you have a designer, you put it out to bid, the lowest price qualified bidder gets the job, regardless of who they are. CM at risk is you go out for RFP, who's interested in doing it, you get a qualified general contractor, and they provide a guaranteed maximum cost, guaranteed maximum price, GMP. And that process involves our design team, our project manager, us, we come up with our price, and the bidder, the contractor, the construction manager that we select comes up with their price. And then you reconcile on what's the guaranteed maximum price. And built into that will be several contingencies. There will be a GMP contingency, stuff that was missed. There will be a design contingency, stuff that they missed. Carmen knows exactly what we're talking. She's done this before.
What's GMP?
What's that?
GMP, what does that stand for?
GMP, guaranteed maximum price.
All right.
But at the end of the day, the reality is I'm convinced the price is the same. All of the trades still go out to bid. So plumbing, electric, HVAC, steel, foundation, all of those things are still bid. It's basically, in a nutshell, the contractor, what their piece of the pie is the piece that is negotiable, GMP. But your sub bids, you're going to end up with whoever is the lowest qualified price for plumbing, for electric, that sort of thing. I've been involved in building projects both ways, and I like the idea of being able to pick who's going to do it, rather than put it out on the street, who's the low bidder. they get the job. And the reason, and my wife calls me a cynic, I tell her I'm a realist. The reason they're the low bidder is because they already figured out what's missing in the plan and what they're going to get us for the change orders later. Okay, it's that simple. And if it's missing, it comes out of contingency, but they already figured it out. So they've already got the change orders written up before you even sign the contract. They know what is missing. At the end of the day, my recommendation, and I want to have a discussion about this, my recommendation is we should just go down the CM at risk road for the foreseeable future and end up there. And I know Rick had some input regarding that.
Experience, Jonathan, yeah. I also like the continuity from beginning to end, where you have someone right there at the beginning and time, all the way to the end, and it close out of the project. So for me, efficiency guarantee
Mitch has his hand up too.
that's important to me. I concur with Jonathan's recommendation. That's how I would like to do this project.
Okay. It's not a public hearing. There's really no public input here. So I don't want to be disrespectful, but this is a building committee discussion. And it's not a public hearing that we're not taking evidence or that sort of thing, or input from. So anyone else have any discussions regarding it?
I'm on the committee.
It's Mitch.
Oh,
Mitch.
come up here. What are you doing? I'm sorry, Mitch. No, please, come up. Don't sit in the back of the room and make believe you're not part of this. I'm sorry, Mitch.
My question, and I agree with your Rick's sentiments. I would agree with the path you proposed. But can you just refresh, when we bid out like all the subs, who handles that bidding? Is it like the OPM or the general contractor, or do we do
The
it?
design team.
The design team?
The design team.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah,
another strength.
Yeah, it's
That's your audit.
right,
For me
right.
personally, is
Yeah.
they're overseeing that process.
Yeah, exactly. They're overseeing the whole
Another
thing.
It's another layer of protection, really. For
Exactly. Again, for me, it's really simple. You get to choose who's building the school for you, as opposed to put it out on the street and who's low bidder that's qualified, that's who you get. So,
I have a quick question.
any other discussion? Michael?
Yeah, this is not my world, so I'm going to defer to you
Yeah.
guys. But I do have a question. So, lowest bidder to me, I agree. It's scary to me. So, with this other method,
CM at risk.
yeah. So, is it like how do we choose? Is it by value? Because I know sometimes you can do contract by best value.
You pick who, you're going to get you're going to get response to an RFP, you're going to look through it, you're going to interview the various general contractors, you're going to pick one, and then between their numbers and our design team, we're going to get our own numbers. And the reality is it's prevailing wage. The labor isn't going to change. The materials are not going to change. It's all going to come down to.
So how do we pick them though? Like, is it a
How do you
rubric?
pick-
Yeah. Is it by price? Is it by qualifications?
Same by qualification?
Okay, that's it. Oh, it's an RFQ. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Quality. So that's all I was looking for.
Scale, point system.
Yeah, qualification.
Interview.
Yeah.
So, you don't just pick willy-nilly, there are some guidelines. But compared to what was bid, again,
Yeah, I just
I like the ability to.
I think it's the way to go, and I think we should go down that pathway, and my experience is it works really well, because, you can predetermine if you're going to have a good relationship with this firm, as opposed to, I'm low bidder, I'm qualified, now you got to do it my way. And that's, maybe somewhat cynical as far as my wife's characterization of me, but I think it's realistic.
If I may add to
Sure, please.
I do concur with, I've been in both teams on both sides, and there has been more client satisfaction through
With CM at risk.
with CM
Yeah.
at risk,
Yeah.
just because it also gives the contractor the history that they cannot get with the other approach, because they'll just be coming in once all the drawings are done. So all the design decisions, everything that has been made, they just receive it, so they don't necessarily have the history behind it. And we, as a design team, don't necessarily have the input of, oh, well, if you do it this way, it may be more cost-effective or more efficient. So that's also a benefit.
They become a partner with us, or that's a good point, because they get involved earlier, and somewhere along the line, there's going to be a value engineering meeting to see what can you take out, what makes sense, where's the real value, and that's where they're very helpful.
They're very helpful, yeah.
Michael?
I think another way to look at it, Jonathan, or I should say everybody is, if you go with the direction of you're going to get the low bidder, that's what you get. You get the low bidder.
Yeah.
And if you allow, there's an old saying, if you allow somebody to make a fair profit, you get a fair
And at
fair
the end of the
product.
day, like I said, it's always going to come out to the same price.
Right.
At the end of the day, the numbers are going to be the same.
If we go a direction where, if we go a direction where a company coming in bidding knows that they've got to be fair and we're going to be fair, the finished product is going to be what we want.
So are you looking for a motion, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone has a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things. Design, going CM at risk, I think in this project, based on the way we're probably going to end up going, might be more critical. I mean, if you do a good set of plans, low bidder is not bad. Let's not give people a false conclusion, you get the low bidder. No, you get what's on your plans, and if you do a good set of plans, you're fine. It's when you try to do that and have half-assed set of plans, you end up chasing it. The other thing, though, I think that's going to be critical in this is that, not that I want to put the cart before the horse, but I think there's a realization, or at least a belief, that this is going to be a new building with a rehab of the existing. If that's the case, we've got students in that building. Working with a contractor and knowing that contractor up front at 30% design or whatever will allow us and him to schedule his work in the most cost-effective way. So it will come out of the plans, hopefully with the way that we get this building built a little bit quicker, hence hopefully a little bit cheaper. The other thing is this will also allow us to get out and put the bid out quicker as well. If you're going to go to 100% design plans, we've got to go through that whole process. It's going to take a while.
Good point.
We're not going to have a contractor on board for a while. So for something this size, and I'm not comfortable that we know everything that's in that high school, so there are going to be some issues down there. I don't know that we could produce 100% plans that are going to encompass everything that's going to be there. I think the CM at risk is definitely the better way to go.
Any other discussion? And I'm looking for a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
Mitch Rossetti, motion, second. Carmen Torres, second. All those in favor of proceeding with the CM at risk process? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, which gets us to the next item, which is the owner project manager, RFS. Last meeting, I asked 4 people to look at it. Craig did most of it, not all the heavy lifting. It's substantially put together. I know it's been circulated. Before we can put it on the street, it needs to be approved by the MSBA. And based upon that, I'm requesting that we vote to authorize, I guess, I don't know, I think it's probably Rick because it's procurement, right? Whatever. I'm just looking for a vote to put the RFS on the street as soon as the MSBA approves it.
So moved.
Michael Agajanian, second by Mitch Rossetti. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, so that's unanimous. So that will get us moving. Unfortunately, they were full, the MSBA is full on their November meeting, so the earliest that we will get an OPM on board will be December. So we're going back into some level of hibernation but we'll keep moving along, but that's just the reality of it. That's where we're at the moment, but we've done the important things for now. We are in the program. We have we know we're going to do CM at risk, and we have a pathway to an RFS at the shortest possible route. Next item on the agenda is school committee update, if there is anything.
Anything, Kevin?
I'm gonna keep, do you have anything?
Just to add, we were going to try to fast track, this is a comment on what Jonathan was just saying. We're going to try to fast track the OPM RFS process because we want to keep the project moving. fortunately, we got the positive vote from the MSBA Board of Directors today. The bad news is we got a ton of information afterwards that kind of set a timeline that's a lot less aggressive than we would hope for. So what I had sent everybody, I think either Friday or Saturday or even Monday of this week, I can't remember, was kind of like what all the documents are, about 85% done. A lot of what they gave us fill in some of those gaps. There's a couple other things we had to do, like decide if we were going to go at risk or the more traditional way, because there's a slightly different process for the bidding. So that slowed the process down, but we're going to be ready to go as soon as we get green lit from the MSBA.
Awesome. Every time I think about taking this item off the agenda, I remind myself that our job is to build a school for them, and I leave it on. Okay?
Fair.
That's real. That's it. I mean, that's what we're doing here. It's, they're ordering something and we're going to deliver. Next item is old business. Any old business? Any new business? Then the motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Kevin McIntyre and Mike Walsh second. All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.